You know the story by now. Corey Boyd will no longer wear the double blue. Tonight he is in green and gold. His career as an Edmonton Eskimo begins on Wendy's Friday Night Football against the Alouettes. That means a little less work for Hugh Charles, who's been a very productive back for the Eskimos. That is the #1 storyline heading into the game tonight. To talk about that, here is Chris Cuthbert and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Dave. Thunder and lightning. It's a theme we've heard before in the Canadian Football League with Corey Philpott and Sean Millington, and we even saw it last year. They called it fire and ice in Edmonton with Jerome Messam and Hugh Charles. Now it's Boyd and Charles. Your thoughts on how it might work?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting because, to me, in terms of play calling, these guys aren't as drastically different in terms of their style as maybe their physical numbers and appearances might have you believe. It's not, you talked about Sean Millington, Corey Philpott. I look at guys like Mike Sellers and Charles Roberts as well in that history lesson, who are drastically different in terms of the touches they're going to get. Where these guys might have trouble coexisting is that I think the play calls for both of them are going to be similar, and they may be really competing for the same touches.
Well, number 28, Corey Boyd, not familiar with the Thunder Lightning history in the Canadian Football League, but he does like the combination of Charles and himself in the backfield.
I don't know if this league ever had a Thunder and Lightning, but that's a good way to put it. You know, he's a shifty guy, quick. You know, he makes people miss. That's his thing. He's a shifty type guy. I'm more of a power type guy that brings a little shift here and there. But I think with both of us, you know, it's a quick change up for a defense that they won't be able to handle. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we can work this out.
12 to 15 reps for him tonight, we expect. We should also mention Montreal, the #2 run defense in the league, so it'll be a good test.
Yeah, absolutely. And for both of these teams, that Edmonton offensive line dealing with injury issues they've had over the course of the year, but now starting to play well. We saw Stephen Giles with perhaps his best game of the week, hoping that the addition of Corey Boyd to that backfield maybe gives him a little bit more opportunity now on play action, bootlegs, and so on, to add that to his offensive repertoire as they try to continue their success against a very good Montreal team.
So the #1 and #5 running back in the Canadian Football League in the same backfield. The man who won the rushing title last year will not be in the lineup for Montreal. Brandon Whitaker is out. We'll see Victor Anderson. That's the running back story for Montreal tonight as the Alouettes invade Commonwealth to meet the Eskimos. Dave?
Thank you, gentlemen. No shortage of things to talk about in the pregame show tonight on Friday night. Dave Randorf, Milt Stegall, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. Hard-pressed to think of the last time when the same backfield had 2 of the top 5 running backs in the league going. But that's what we're going to see tonight. It was a story that caught everybody off guard when the Argos made the difficult, to say the least, decision to release the league's leading rusher after 7 weeks of play. And there are many Argo fans out there who still feel they haven't been given a solid explanation as to why the move was made. But bottom line is, Corey Boyd said, I wasn't released, I was unleashed. And you don't even have to read between the lines there to see that there is no love lost for the former Argo, who is now an Eskimo, and Ryan Rashmog spoke to him a short time ago.
Corey, set to make your debut with the Eskimos. How much have you had to take in over the last 5 days, and how effective do you think you can be on short notice like this?
I believe if I get out there and get in the hang of everything will be just fine. I've had a great week of preparation. I had some good coaches in my ear helping me get the little things down, and I'm just looking forward to get out there and making things happen.
You've had 4 or 5 days to digest what happened. Do you understand why yet you were let go from Toronto?
Honestly, it doesn't even make a difference right now. You know, I'm out here with my team. I'm ready to go out here and play and let those things be those things of the past, and I'm looking for new beginnings.
You were the best back in the league yardage-wise, let go by your team. Do you feel like you have something to prove?
No, I never have anything to prove. All I have to do is make sure I go out here and compete just like I've always done, and just give my 110 as always, and let the chips fall where they may.
Thanks, Corey.
No problem. Thank you.
Good stuff, man.
It'll be interesting to see the Eskimos in Toronto next week. That's for next week, though. Last night on our pregame show, we discussed this from the Toronto angle. Now I want to get your opinions from the Edmonton side of things. And, you know, the Edmonton Eskimos boys are going pretty good right now. They're 4-2. They are on top spot in the West. Does this addition have the potential to rock the boat a bit, Schultz?
Yes and no. Yes, in the respect that it does rock the boat when you have a different player coming in, and teams notice that, and it does rock the boat when it comes to the running backs. Hugh Charles, Calvin McCarty, they don't know how many carries they're going to get. They were pretty comfortable as the running backs for the Edmonton Eskimos. In comes Corey Boyd. Don't think for one moment that he does not threaten their employment. He does. No, in the respect that this happens all the time in pro football. Coaches know the number one way that you can get the most out of the player, bring in another quality player that plays that specific position. In the big picture, it rocks the boat, but in a little way specifically for the running backs.
Yeah, well, it's rocking the boat. Hugh Charles all week long has been saying, we're bringing in Corey Boyd, but I'm the number one guy. If you're the number one guy, you don't need to say that. He's nervous. He's really, and that may be a good thing. That may be a good thing.
That rocking the boat already?
That's rocking the boat. But as a GM, as a head coach, and you know this, Matt, you want to make your team better no matter what your record is. Any way you can.
Absolutely.
They feel this makes their team better. So they're going to give him his touches and see what he can do.
I'm a big believer in Calvin McCarty. And I think, you know, you talk about Corey Boyd's potential as being a power back in that system. I think that's Calvin McCarty's forte. I think he's spectacular at that in short yardage situations. I think where it's going to rock the boat, you talked about number of touches, is 1st and 10 situations, 2nd and short situations, and 3rd and 1 situations. You're not going to see Corey Boyd tonight in 2nd and long situations. If you do, pay particular close attention to him because I just don't think he's enough time to pick up the blocking scheme. So he's taking reps away from him already in 1st and 10 and those 2nd and short situations that normally go to Hugh Charles. And I think that is really going to rock the boat, particularly when Stephen Giles is starting hitting his stride with that offense right now.
But the fact is, Corey Boyd is a proven 1,000-yard back in this league over the last couple of seasons.
Welcome to SportsCenter. Alouettes and Eskimos. Corey Boyd making his Edmonton debut following his unexpected release from the Argos. Before he even takes the field, Montreal opens with a 6-play, 66-yard drive, capped off by a Patrick Lavoie touchdown, 7-zip Owls. Still in the first, Boyd gets his first touch, and he is stuffed for a loss of 3. He had 3 touches for 11 yards in the first half. Alouettes driving again. Anthony Calvillo finds Brian Bratton for 30 yards. And just like that, it's 14-0. The Owls also with a new look in the backfield. Victor Anderson making his first start, replacing the injured Brandon Whitaker. Anderson with a 21-yard catch and run. The Eskimos came in allowing just 16 points per game this season. They're already down 21-0. Still before the half, Calvillo to Brandon London, and he makes a great leaping grab here. That led to another TD. 28-0. The Eskimos looking for something positive. Hugh Charles runs for 16 yards but gets hammered by Kenny Ingram. Edmonton trailing by 20 at the break. Third quarter, Calvillo to S.J. Green. There's a 13-yard pickup. Calvillo's 4th touchdown pass. He goes over the 300-yard mark for the 6th straight game. That ties a career high. Owls in front, 38-11. Montreal driving again in the 4th. This time, Calvillo gets picked off by Rod Williams. Calvillo, not known for his tackling ability, tries to bring down Williams with some sort of karate kick. Doesn't quite work. Calvillo can do a lot of things, but I guess tackling isn't one of them. Still in the 4th, Giles under pressure, gets sacked for a 5th time, and the Esks QB hurt on the play. He would have to leave the game with a right toe injury. A tough night for the Eskimos as the Alouettes pick up the victory, 38-25. The Owls have now won 5 straight against the Eskimos. The Esks surrendered 5 touchdowns in this game after allowing a combined 9 in their first 6 games. Calvillo's 4 touchdowns tie him with Warren Moon for 2nd most all-time in pro football with 435. So the Eskimos perfect at home no longer as we welcome you to